Welcome everybody to this online event about a special court case. This is brought to you from the headquarters of Amnesty International, the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. And with us here are 4 guests who are going to tell us everything about a case against oil company Shell. Tomorrow, Wednesday, the 23rd of March, the court in The Hague will present its judgment in a landmark case against oil multinational Shell about Shell's possible role in the arrest, detention, and execution of 9 men in Nigeria in 1995. Esther Kiobel, Victoria Bera, and other women who lost their husbands at the time took Shell to court in the Netherlands here in 2011. The 9 men involved were abused, sentenced to death after an unfair trial, and they were hanged in 1995. Now, this case has not only been a long road to justice for the people involved, but it also shows how hard it is for victims of human rights abuses to take a big company to court over human rights abuses. With us here in the studio are Victoria Bera, Esther Kiobel, and Dummett and Seun Bakare from Amnesty International, and we're going to talk to them very soon. First, before we find out more about this case, I would like to introduce to you Paul Helsloot, who is Director, Strategy, Research and Political Affairs at Amnesty International, Netherlands. Welcome, Paul.
Paul's muted.
Paul, your microphone is still off.
Sorry, okay. On behalf of Amnesty Netherlands and also our director, Dagmar Oudson, who unfortunately can't be here due to a personal emergency, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you. And of course, particularly our foreign guests, Mark and Sean from Amnesty, our colleagues, but most specifically, I'm honored and I want to welcome again to our officers, Esther Kiobel and Victoria Bera, 2 of the 4 plaintiffs in this case. Esther and Victoria, you've come to the last stage of a long and brave battle for justice. And the case against Shell, as Elke said, is a landmark case, since it's so very important, yet incredibly difficult to hold powerful companies like Shell to account for their role in grave human rights violations, like the brutal executions of your husbands in 1995. For the 2 of you, it's so much more than an exceptional and important court verdict. It's the culmination of a lifelong search for justice, in which you have to put so much effort and energy, and despite the fact that even a grand victory in court would never be able to compensate for the personal loss and grief that you suffered. We are very honored to stand on this case together with you and are determined, regardless of outcomes and the verdict tomorrow, to continue to be there for you, and to support your fight and our joint fight for justice. So now we keep our fingers crossed for tomorrow, and we wish all of you good luck, and thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you, Paul, for your welcome. Now it's time to talk to our guests here. We are going to find out more about this case from Esther Kiobel and Victoria Bera, and we will also talk to Dummett and Seun Bakare to talk about Amnesty's involvement and role in this case. But first, to understand a little bit more about the details. Mark, can you tell us in a very tiny nutshell, give us a little recap. What is this case about again?
Sure. To do that, I think we really need to go back to Ogoni Land in the Niger Delta, which is where Victoria and Esther and their late husbands are from. This is Africa's most important oil-producing region. And many people have benefited from the oil that has been pumped from under the ground of Ogoni Land in the Niger Delta since the 1950s. But particularly the oil companies, mainly Shell, and people who are not from the region, so people connected to the Nigerian government and other people who have benefited from the oil. But for the inhabitants of this region, they have suffered because of years of oil pollution. Now, back in the 1990s, a man called Ken Saro-Wiwa, a famous writer and environmentalist, led the first community protests against the oil industry in Ogoniland. And the protests threatened the business of Shell and the other oil multinationals and the Nigerian government, which was relying on those oil resources. So they responded brutally. At the time, the Nigerian government was a military dictatorship. They sent the soldiers in for a reign of terror to crush the protests, which ended tragically in the executions of 9 men, including Victoria and Esther's late husbands. That, in a nutshell, is it. Since the 1990s, no one has been held to account. No one. In Nigeria, in the Netherlands, in the UK, which is where Shell's based, there's been no justice in all this time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mark. Dear Esther and Victoria, welcome to the Netherlands. You were here before in 2017 when the Dutch court started this case, and tomorrow the court here will present its judgment. This has been a very long road for you. Esther, can you tell us what you are demanding from Shell?
Right now, I'm demanding first public excuses. Shell to be responsible for the evil deeds they did in Ogoniland. Secondly, with that, my husband and his colleagues' name will be exonerated. That's the second one. Then they should probably clean up the Ogoniland because women, children, men, all manner of works are so sick of cancer, all deadly diseases. And the farmer cannot even go to farming and fishing because the waters are polluted. So we want them to come clean and also install like hospital and more works like the youth can do. Make Ogoniland a good place, not just to go in there and take oil and do nothing good there. They should implement the same thing they does in Canada, in America, in Nigeria, because it's the same world. Just one world, no different. So if they're doing good, clean up and everything in Canada and America and in Europe, they should do the same in Nigeria.
Yeah. Thank you. And Victoria, what do you expect from the ruling tomorrow?
Yeah, first of all, I will love Shell to do more for the Ogoni people, and I will love them to apologize for what they have done, for the mess they have done to Ogoni, and especially for the Ogoni Nine, for cleaning their name. My husband is not a criminal.
Yeah.
It's so sad for me to hear them call my husband criminal, and I'm not a criminal. I want them to apologize for what they have done. And also, for the Ogoni people as a whole, I say, to clean Ogoni land, because they have done nothing to Ogoni land. For the young, for what my husband and others have been fighting for, nothing I've done up to these days. And it's so sad when you look at young people on the street still suffering. We don't have no good water to drink, no job, nothing have been bringing back to us. That they should come down, they should stop hiding behind the Nigerian government to come and do what is right to the Ogoni people.
Yeah. Now, this has been a very long road for the both of you. You both were forced to flee your country. You're not living in Nigeria anymore. The road to justice has been long. Esther Kiobel has been in court for 20 years. You, Victoria, have also struggled for many, many years in this case. Can you tell us, Esther, what the impact has been of all of this on your life?
In my life, in generally all our family life, it has been so much. We all traumatized, of one problem after the other. Like before I fled Nigeria, when my husband was locked up there, in an innocent man. I mean, I was doing catering and housekeeping. I have a contract in Quality Radiator Company that was in Transamandi, which I cook for like senior staff and junior staff, more than 1,000 staffs. And I have many employees that serve them. So when this case was on, you know, because Shell is involved and the government, the situation escalates. River State, in the sense that they know me, one, by my last name, by attachment. So they said, oh, if my husband can collaborate with the others to kill the four, then she can poison food for us. That was how I was given a termination letter. So in this case, I have my appointment letter and termination letter as an evidence. And we move on with our life. Like when our kids go to school, we go out on a walk. Even I remember in a point when we were going to bury my husband, when we were going to rebury anyway, they killed them, they acidized them, they just put all of them in one pit. But you know, in Canada, when they brought them out and testing their DNA to give their remains to each family. So when we were trying to do that in the village, well, there was this news that said, oh, the family of Ogoni 4 are coming to riot, are coming to kill. Oh, we should do it secretly. I said, excuse me, my husband died. My husband was not a criminal. He never did. He was a commissioner. I mean, he's an academical doctor. He was a commissioner of commerce and tourism, and they just get him involved because in an executive meeting where Shell and the government and the governor Como were in the meeting where they want him they wanted to bribe him actually against the Mosop, against Ken Sariwa. And he said, I can't do this. So again, the second time, why they really involve him in this tribunal case, when he was detained in naval base, they say it was just a protection. He never knew they were going to put him in there. So he grabbed a paper, like 3 pages, wrote a memo, and sent it to Copy Abacha and Como, that there are armies killing the youth, killing his people in Ogoni land, that they should withdraw them to stop killing their next generation. Because of that, they say, oh, so you know what you're doing. They now get him involved. Getting him involved, there was this Mopo by name Stephen in Boricam, the head Mopo, and there was this, when they didn't really let us testify really in court, because we have a bunch of evidence to present, a videotape, which a lot of journalists were there when we, after this secret meeting, when they came out, journalists were asking questions all over. So there is this tape we were going to present, and they refused us presenting it. Then it was late Gani Fawemi and son Femi Falana that was the head lawyers then, and they told them we have this tape, and our own lawyer was Alhaji Fatai Osho. So when Fatai Osho got up, wants to present this tape, they said no, they won't get it, they won't take it as an evidence because they can't find the government one, which means they get rid of it, okay. And I'm glad I'm here fighting this case, because I was detained twice. By Okutimo, he slapped me, I slapped him because he was trying to abuse me sexually, and he said, do what other women do. I said, no. So he has to, I got a scar which I live with it today, and that's what energized me to move on to fight this battle. So all this evidence, because they refuse us presenting this evidence, so the Antonis withdraw. So when the Antonis, the Femi Falana and Gani withdraw, there were no lawyers. So they have to bring in a legal aid lawyers. That was government lawyers. Luckily, the one they appointed to us was a very good lady. She always come to the house, console me, and even, you know, they have all these case document. So after then, she brought everything and gave it to me. She even dashed me money. She even wished me luck. She strengthened me. She said, go out there and speak. I know your husband was innocent. And if someone was going to be released among them, number one, it was going to be your husband. And they were going to kill all of them anyway. People might say, okay, why did they release Mite? It was because Lady Mite was an Anthony by himself. He defended himself. That was how he was released, you see. So we went through a lot and still going through, traumatized till date. And in the process, so much to talk about. But I just need justice so that my husband's name will be exonerated, the rest innocent ones too, so I can walk on the street. Rich men can walk on the street, family members can walk on the street without harassment.
I would like to, you're living in the United States at the moment. Victoria, you moved to Canada.
Yes.
Can you add a little bit? What has the impact been on your personal life of this whole struggle?
Yes. Since my husband was key alongside with Ken Sarumiwa by share and Nigeria government, it has been a tough road. My life has been full of traumatized. Like the position I was when my husband was killed, it made an impact in my life. Like it's been a so painful 20-something years in my life. Nothing has changed. Every day look fresh to my life. In the part that I was heavily pregnancy, I was suffering, going through all pains, all kind of pains. It was a difficult time, and the impact in my life is still fresh every day.
Thank you. Can you, Esther, can you tell us a little bit about how Amnesty International has supported your case in this?
I'm gonna go.
In fact, they really did so much. They came starting from America. When I went to Supreme Court, they always came in and protesting, and when the Supreme Court said actually they were going to do the case there, but the Shell said, oh, this is not their homeland, oh, there is no jurisdiction here. So what can I do? The powerful. They came in and said, oh, there is no jurisdiction. Shell said this case can be tried in Nigeria, in Netherlands, or in Europe. And I said, no, I can't go to Nigeria because that is where everything started anyway. They started this mess. They collaborate with the Shell, so they are both collaborators. So I will not see justice there. And besides, I flee from the government because I flee from Nigeria because I used to go out there when journalists interview me. I used to tell them my husband's blood. We cry out like the blood of Abel and Ansa Abacha and Kutimo and his cohorts. And if they go into Genesis chapter 4, verse 9 to 12, they will see there how Abel's blood cry out. So that's what I told them. And I didn't want to leave Nigeria. I was ready to be even dead, to even kill, because what was I living for? When the best, the great crown that was on my head has been taken off, a man, I mean, he was the breadwinner of the family, has gone, because according to our culture in Nigeria, men does a lot, you know, more than women. And men, like where I stopped from, my husband trained me. So men does a lot for we, and he's no longer there. So you know how it feels, it's each day of our lives. So I have to flee, so there's no justice I was gonna get in Nigeria. That's the reason why Amnesty came in. They have been there all over my life. They used to call me to speak in Washington, D.C. Then Amnesty, Mr. Mark, Amnesty in London, Amnesty in Netherlands, John Donovan was the one that introduced me to everybody. And this John Donovan is Shell's #1 enemy. And the man hates someone cheating someone, and he loves justice. That was how I went and emailed her, please, I need your help, sir. Yeah, somebody told me that was how John Donovan came in, and he now brought Amnesty London, Netherlands, and the lawyer China.
Yeah.
in. So from there, they take God, they are God sent.
You want to add something, Victoria?
Yes,
Please do.
I will say that Amnesty, both Netherlands here, London, and all over the world, have given us the voice that we do not have. Person like me, I'm saying out of my heart, Amnesty are giving me the voice to speak, to tell my story out, to share my pains to others, what Share have done to me, what the Nigerian government and Share have done to my life. So for that, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to able to tell my story, that somebody out there can able to hear me, what have happened to me. That all what Share have been doing in our life and doing in Ogoni Nine, even what they are denying today, they would have not even denied, because all what is happening, what we are saying is true. Like today, say, oh, they should prove what? There was not even camera. We don't even have water. We don't even have nothing. No cell phone. We just have cell phone in Ogoni. Let me say, a few years ago, when we were able to flee to refugee camp and get settlement to Canada and America, we were able to help others behind. And people can able to have cell phone. Few people, not everybody though, can able to have cell phone. If something happen, you can get the record, you can post it online, let other people share what is going on. So the life we have been living in Ogoni is been a life that you can never imagine. Like up to these days, as I'm speaking to you in Ogoni, we still get water from the river and drink.
Yeah.
Because I just came from Ogoni not too long ago. We still get water from the river and drink. Some people will not believe
Polluted.
that. Like the same river, not river that flow around, is river that you can see the one we have there. This is the one that we shall push around and fetch the water and drink. And that's where the pollution, all the mess that Share have made to us is inside
Still
there.
there.
And that's where our sickness comes from. That's where our death is coming from. So many people are dying young. Young people are dying. Sickness is happening every day. No medication, no hospital, no better school. And that's the simple, small things Ken and 8 others have been requesting from the Nigerian government, and they bundle together with Share and kill them, punish us, disturb, make our life miserable, make our person like me to be a widow, make me a person who live in like every day I live in pain. Every day I live in pain because of what they have used me like to make me go through, and they done nothing about it. No change, no apology, nothing. Then let me say, no of them can stand here today that this is what I have done for Victoria Bera. No of them. I have never get anything from them. No apology, no support, nothing. Not even my children. And today, I would have liked Share to apologize.
Yeah.
We need justice. Ogoni people need justice. Myself, I need justice. My children need justice. And I will love justice to prevail.
Very clear, and I think it's very clear what you're fighting for. I think as Amnesty International, we are honored that we can assist you in this. I would like to talk a little bit to Sean and Mark about Amnesty's involvement. Thank you so much for sharing these very personal stories. Mark Dummett is Head of Business and Human Rights at Amnesty International's headquarters in London. Seun Bakare is Programs Manager at Amnesty Nigeria. You have both been involved in this case for a long time. Mark, can you tell us what Amnesty's role has been in this case so far and why Amnesty got involved?
Sure. Well, Amnesty's been involved in the struggle for justice for Ogoni Land and the people of the Niger Delta since the 1990s. Since the crackdown that I described and they've described on the protesters and the trial, this fake trial that found their husbands guilty on invented evidence. And since then, Amnesty has been drawing attention to the appalling levels of pollution in the Niger Delta. It's been campaigning with partner organizations here in the Netherlands and Europe and Nigeria and around the world for a clean-up. And since the case was brought here to The Hague back in 2015 or 2016, we've been supporting Esther and Victoria and the two other plaintiffs who are in Nigeria this week. They haven't been able to travel.
Yeah.
And we've been supporting their case. They've brought the case, we haven't, but we're supporting this because it's so important that, as we've heard, they see justice and that Shell is held to account. We've been supporting it through our research, through campaigning, and one thing I want to mention is that it's not just us, the staff of Amnesty, who have been providing this support, but also our many members and supporters and members of the public. And I remember when the case started and we got to the courtroom, the court building in The Hague, and there was an Amnesty Netherlands van outside with pictures of all the postcards that people in the Netherlands had written, hundreds, thousands of people had written, expressing their solidarity to Esther. It was so moving and touching, and I think it's bigger than Amnesty. It's our supporters as well who express their support, their solidarity, and they want justice for you.
That's true.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Now, this case, everything obviously started in Nigeria, it moved to the US courts, and then now it's in the Netherlands. Sean, you are from Amnesty International Nigeria. Can you tell us a little bit more about the Nigerian context of the case? We know Esther and Victoria were forced to flee the country. They are living in America and Canada at the moment. What is the importance of this case in Nigeria?
It's very clear that there is a huge interest in this case, not only in Nigeria but around the world. But as you mentioned, the whole situation started in Nigeria. And it is unfortunate that not only did it start in Nigeria, the effect continues on Nigerians, and it's the reason why this case is quite, generating a lot of interest in Nigeria. The case is really about the Nigerian government being on trial, and of course, as a lawyer, I should know that while this is a civil case, we can't start talking about trial here. But we are in this mess today because the Nigerian government connived with big corporates and the Nigerian judicial system, and that connivance created this mess that we are in. And I've had people ask questions. Why are they not suing Shell in Nigeria? How do you go before a body that created a problem for them to solve that problem? The Nigerian judicial system failed not only the husbands of the applicants in this case, but the entire Niger Delta people. And one of the things that has come out strongly in all of this conversation is that the issue is bigger than the 9 men that were killed. The issue is bigger than the Ogoni people. The issue is bigger than the Niger Delta. It is about how a company is so interested in profit as to, perpetrate illegality just to achieve their aims. And what we are saying is that there has to be justice, because justice for these applicants, for these plaintiffs, is symbolic for the people of Niger Delta. Continuous violation. When you go to the Niger Delta today, I was there, a few months back, you can see what is going on there. The violations have continued. The abuses from these big corporates have continued. And the Nigerian government is not doing enough to stem the tide of the crisis that we have. So it's the reason why we as an organization got involved in this in the first place. We take injustice personally, and a case like this means a lot to us because it is not just about these women. It's also about a system that connives with externals and every other person to deny the people, its own people, of their rights and the privileges that should accrue to them. So it's the reason why this case is important in Nigeria, and I can tell you that there is, a huge interest. Everyone is looking forward to what the decision would be tomorrow. But again, it doesn't matter what the outcome is. The truth is out there already. The evidence is before the court. It doesn't matter what the court pronounces. It will not change the fact that the Nigerian government, the judicial system in Nigeria, connived with Shell to kill citizens, and they still continue to kill citizens because of what they have done in that place, and the mess continues. So we only hope that justice will come so that at least something can remind everyone that if we keep pressing, we will arrive at a certain destination.
Yes, clear. Thank you, Seun Bakare and Mark Dummett from Amnesty. I just want to check in with my colleague Marlene. A lot of people are watching this stream at the moment, and we may have time for one question from the audience. I'm just checking, Marlene, do we have any time, and are there any interesting questions? Oh, we cannot hear Marlene, I hear. I have one other question maybe, or maybe we can add something here. Is there, Esther or Victoria, would you like to add anything to the people who are watching?
Just like when we started, I have a bunch even here with me, if you don't mind me to show it. There is this picture with my husband on helmet where we were lodged by Shell at Presidential Hotel in Port Harcourt, and my husband was airlifted with their helicopter that has a Shell logo on it to their field, and I have the picture here. Secondly, he was invited to a conference in their facility too, where they took him along with few officers in, and when he came out, when we were driving home, he told me, darling, do you know, they're trying to bribe me. And he was a Christian. He won't take that. So all those, we have bunch evidence where when he was a commissioner, Shell used some agents to send a letter to him when he was in office, if he can talk to his people, blah, 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 and the signature addressed to him. So we have all this as evidence, although in the court, they told my lawyer they needed the witnesses to come in and testify. And the witnesses, thank God, some of them were still alive. They came in and testified. Then even Lady Mite, who was a victim too, came in, victim and witness. He was the only one they let go. He came in and testified. Then the Falana is late. No, sorry. Gani Fireman is late. Then son Femi Falana testified and told them everything because there was no tribunal anyway. There was no real court sitting, and you can even see the extent where Nigerian government and their officers lied. Like when I was detained for almost going 2 weeks, when they went to the tribunal, and Okutimo did not know that where he went and locked me up was my husband's village. So in the morning, they just saw a lot of women, because women and children so love me in that village. They came out protesting. So that was when the world said, what's going on? Before you know it, Ledumite, Ken Saro-Wiwa, and my husband sent a letter to a lawyer. So they now told the tribunal that my husband said, I'm not eating no food, I'm not answering no question, I want my wife released. So that was when the tribunal justice said, what's going on? So Kutimo said, oh, the accused wife came in and was dementia, like mad, and he was taken to psychiatric hospital. Then the lawyer says, false, my lord. They have to send some people to there. They saw where I was locked up. Then immediately they said I should be released. And if that didn't happen, I wouldn't have sit here today and have a voice. That's what Nigeria government can do.
Yeah.
But so right now, I need justice. Justice that will get them exonerated.
Yeah.
Justice that will remove their name from the book of criminal, not just pardon.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up. Our time has come here. We could talk on a lot more, I think. But for now, we've come to an end of this event. And I would like to thank all the guests here, Victoria Bera, Esther Kiobel, Mark Dummett, and Seun Bakare, for being here. Paul Helsloot also for the welcome. Thank you a lot for watching. Please bear with us. Cross your fingers for a good outcome tomorrow. And if you need any more information about this case, if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact Amnesty International and we can help you with that. And thank you everybody for participating, and thanks again to our guests, and have a very good day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.